Hey everyone, the numbers are in for Whisper Dunes for February 2022. I'm Craig Duran with the Duran Group over at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. I want to take you through a couple things in this video. I want to show you a little bit about the overall housing market. It's still very, very active, but I want to show you a couple things that I think that are pretty important. I'm going to go through some specific pricing for you in Whisper Dunes and what happened in February, and then talk a little bit about the market and where things may be headed through the rest of the year. So first off, one of the most important things to understand about this market is just how little supply. If we're talking about supply and demand, there are very, very few homes for buyers to purchase. Now think about that from a buyer's standpoint for just a second. If a buyer really wants to buy something, and in the housing market, different than the condo market here, it's much more dramatic. The emotions involved in someone trying to find a place to live is much different than someone who wants a second home at the beach or an investment property, something like that. Someone who's trying to find a home, someplace to live, is very emotional about this. And it's very, very difficult to find something right now. Even if you can find something, many times once a house goes up for sale, there are multiple offers on it very quickly. So some of these buyers have tried to buy a house 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 times and haven't gotten one. So they're really, really motivated to buy something. There are not that many choices out there. And we're going to talk about how this plays into pricing in just a little bit. First of all, take a look just at the number, back to our supply and demand conversation. Look at this first column right here. Year over year, in the month of February, we're down about 40%, meaning we have 40% fewer homes available for a buyer to buy right now than we did this time last year. And last year was already a very, very low, intense seller's market. There weren't a lot of homes to buy last year. We now have 40% fewer than last year. And look at this a different way. Look at this. We're at 1.47 months of inventory. That's not a lot. When you look at the amount of demand that's in the market, what that number is telling us is that all of the houses would sell out on the beach in 1.47 months if nothing else came up for sale. That's extremely fast. That means hits the market closing 45 days later. Normally it takes 4 or 5 months in real estate for marketing, showings, contracts, closings. Everything is happening so fast. Homes are selling so fast. So think about that now. That's what's driving prices up. And one thing I really want to, let me show you some pricing in Whisper Dunes first, and then I want to talk to you about a mistake I see that it's costing people lots and lots of money almost every day. So real quick, pricing, and this is just from the month of February. Over on Sand Oak, we had one of the attached units sell for $380,000. There's another one over there. Asking price is $407,500. It is under contract, meaning buyer and seller have agreed to make the purchase. Another unit over there on Sand Oak, asking $425,900. It's under contract. And I want to point out something. This is a very, very good example. I know those units are a little bit different, pardon me, but in the same month, about the same square footage, one is closed for $380,000 and the asking price is $425,900 on another one. And there's a contract in place. We're going to talk about that a little more in a minute. It's worth pointing out. In the detached single family side, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath sold for $480,000. Another one, 4-bedroom, is sold for $515,000. And we have a 4-bedroom asking $598,500. Back to this example right here of this gap from $380,000 to $425,900. The market's moving incredibly fast. And I think in some ways, a lot of real estate agents and sellers are missing out on just what's possible on the high side of sales prices. As real estate agents, we're taught very, very little in real estate school about how to value something. It's really just a couple of hours. So unless you've been doing this a long time and understanding the nuances of the market, it's very easy to price very conservatively. In a market like this, that's leaving a lot of money on the table. Let me give you an example. In real estate school, we're taught to take the last 6 months of sales, try to find the ones that are comparable to what you're trying to price, take an average of that and say, well, This is where the appraised value would come in for a bank. So we could probably price here or here, but we can't really price much higher than that because the appraisals are going to come in here. There's nothing wrong with that thinking in, I think, a normal market or a slow market. But when you're in a market like this where buyers are so motivated to buy something, we're pricing things too cheap, frankly. Buyers are willing to waive financing contingencies. Buyers are paying cash. Buyers are making up appraisal gaps. I can explain that further if you wanted to know. And let me give you an example of what we're doing and kind of show you how I think we're helping people sell for a little bit more. I was asked to do a unit. This is at Calypso, but the same idea applies across the board. I was asked to price a 1-bedroom, 2-bath unit and put it up for sale. The recent sales were right here between 425, 300, 450, 455, 460, and 460. So traditionally, if I was going to price this, I might say, well, the top end of the market is 455 or 460. We know the market's hot, so maybe Mr. or Mrs. Seller, we can price it at 469 or 470. Or what I'm seeing in some cases, a seller who doesn't want to use a real estate agent might go, well, the top of the market's 460. If I could get 470 or 475 and not use an agent, wow, I'm doing really, really well. The problem with that thinking is that we're not in a market that's appreciating at a normal pace. We put that unit on the market at $525,000, got a full price cash offer quickly. It didn't even hit the market. I'm wondering if maybe it could have even sold for more. So my point is that I think naturally real estate agents, inexperienced agents, and even some experienced agents who have kind of a conservative way of thinking with price are leaving a lot of money on the table, not understanding that, yes, this kind of jump is possible, depending on what it is that you have to offer. Whisper Dunes is still highly sought after. It's one of the more consistent communities. Panama City Beach doesn't have a lot of neighborhood type feels that are governed by HOA. The location is fantastic, especially if you see what's coming. There's a new grocer coming to the beach that's not terribly close to Whisper Dunes, but down on Alf Coleman, corner of Alf Coleman, Panama City Beach Parkway. Spoiler alert, it's not Trader Joe's. I know a lot of people want it to be Trader Joe's. But we're so close to a lot of things at Whisper Dunes. Pier Park is very close. Everything on the side of 30A is pretty close. The water is very close. Pretty soon, the hospital, the new hospital, will be very close. All these amenities coming in do nothing but help the neighborhood values at Whisper Dunes. So if you're selling in this market, in a hot market, a few things have to happen. You have to price aggressively, but you have to get your message out there. We can't just tell one real estate agent or one Facebook group about it. It has to be, what we can do with marketing now, you can get that message out to tens of thousands of people. You get fantastic photography, fantastic videography, explaining the neighborhood, explaining the location, describing the house. And then with fantastic online and offline marketing, you can reach tens of thousands of people. And that's where you're seeing the ability of what I just explained of saying, well, the highest recent price was 460, but we found someone to pay 525. Quite frankly, right now, for the most part, it's pretty easy to get an offer on something. There are too many people that want to buy something right now, and that's not a very challenging part of the business. The two challenges we have are finding someone who will pay that much more above the market when we know it's there, and also being able to get that agreement signed, but then also closed. There are a lot of things you have to do right to have a buyer invested in the process at a high price to get to closing, especially with banks involved and all that kind of thing. So if you want to know more about that, let me know. There's some specific strategies we have for that. Also, I think probably the one thing I'm watching for Whisper Dunes from a value standpoint is that the housing market, we think, will still appreciate some, at least over the coming months into the summertime. Ward Creek is being developed as we speak. If you're at Panama City Beach Parkway and Highway 79 or Arnold Road going up towards the airport, if you go up just past the new parkway where the hospital will be, on the east side of that, you'll see a lot of clearing going on for what the neighborhood's going to be called Ward Creek. There are a couple builders that are going to be coming in there. The most interesting thing about that is one is a national home builder. Once those sales start happening, neighborhoods like Whisper Dunes, Palmetto Trace, Breakfast Point will start to have some challenges because now there will be some new product in the market to compete with. And everyone likes new, the ability to build your own home, things like that. There's certainly some challenges with building. You won't have it right away. Pricing right now is pretty funky can be funky with some builders who are having a hard time setting their own prices because of materials cost. But nevertheless, Whisper Dunes may run into a point where all of a sudden this new competition, especially a lot of new homes in a very desirable part of the beach, could be a challenge for resales in Whisper Dunes here in the next 6 to 12 months, maybe a little more than that. So we'll keep an eye on that. If you have any questions, please reach out. If you have any interest, if you know anybody, you're probably not moving if you live in Whisper Dunes, but if you know anybody that has some interest in new homes in Ward Creek from one of the couple builders that'll be in there, let me know. We're already starting our lists for that. So hope you guys found this helpful. We'll be in touch next month. One last thing. The market is so incredibly active. I'm kind of talking fast today because I've got a lot on my plate. The market is so incredibly active. I just don't like to pound people with email about all this stuff. I like to send one email out once a month with this video market update. Once a week, we send out our coffee at the beach, just a general newsletter. And from there, I don't want to send more email than that to people. So one of the places we're getting a lot of information out to you is on social media. So in our posts and stories on Facebook and Instagram, if you're involved with that, and on YouTube, I'm posting a lot of our video walkthroughs. We're shooting a couple in Breakfast Point over the next 7 to 10 days. So we're going to have some really nice walkthroughs of explaining some of these houses we're putting up for sale in there. Also some tips on how to manage real estate transactions or to help people. Some of this stuff will apply that you can maybe even send to friends and family across the country because it's not just exclusive to this area. Also, our newest listings, when we're putting something up for sale, those are some of the places that we can get the message out the fastest. I would rather put it there and people can opt in and look at it when they feel like it and not just send you email after email after email about it. So follow us on Facebook and Instagram if you're looking for that. Follow us on YouTube if you want to see new property updates and some other real estate tips. In the meantime, we'll be back next month with some more information for you. Hope this helps. Thanks for watching.